Welcome, everybody, to Dark Fringe Radio. I am your host, Will Martinez, and welcome back, co host Jay Galosi. Thanks so much for coming back on the podcast, Jay. It's the very first episode of the new year with you back on. Really appreciate it. We've had a plethora of guests, so we've just been inundated with them and we're just trying to get them through through the process here and get their stuff out. So I appreciate you being patient with that, Jay, and then coming on now. So tonight
No,
we
I
have a really
appreciate
special.
it. We've been I've also been sick and been going through some stuff, so it actually kind of it's
Worked
it's been a
out.
minute. I've missed being on the podcast. I've missed doing it. I'm glad to be back. I'm excited for our episode tonight, and I'm psyched. I'm pumped. Let's do this.
Absolutely. So tonight we're going to be talking about the mystery airplane incidents that's just been really been abnormal since the beginning of 2025, and we're going to be getting into all that here in a second. But first, want to let everybody know where they can listen to the podcast. And Jay, where is that? Of course.
You can listen to the podcast anywhere you find your podcast. You can find it on your iPhone. You can find it at Google. You can find it at
Mhm.
Stitcher. You can find it anywhere you find it. But the best place to find it is to go directly to the source. Go to darkfringeradio.com. That's where to go. That's where you can get all of our content. That's where you can get our merch. That's where you get it. That's the spot to get it best.
Absolutely, Jay. I couldn't said it better than that. Of course, the social media stuff, of course, Facebook, Instagram, and now on TikTok, Jay.
Now on TikTok, huh?
Now on TikTok, I've succumbed
While it's
to
while
the
it's legal.
Well, it just came back legal just literally this week, so you can
Wait, isn't
actually
it on like a
download.
60-day thing though? It's like a 60. They're
Yeah,
like
it was weird. We were on a
TikTok's
60
in
day
timeout.
ban. Yeah, like a timeout, and then it came back the same night. Like it went out and it came back on the same night. Like if you had the app still, you didn't delete it, and you just kept it on. It went away for like literally like about 18 to like maybe 22 hours. Then it came back. But then the app itself in the store, whether it be Google Play or the same version of the Apple store, is you couldn't download the app anymore. So you couldn't download it literally to about this week, and that's why I was able to get this on, of course, TikTok. So yeah, make sure you go
I
ahead and
missed
check us
it.
out there. Yeah, no, yeah. Listen, there's literally only like six things on there I put on there, so we don't have that much on there. But I plan to put so much more on there, and the
Yeah,
shorts are getting better. I don't know if you've seen the reels lately, Jay. That's
I
something that
have.
I've been.
Doing
Yeah,
great.
they look real sharp, real professional, and I continue wanting to do that and put all that content out there, especially from the episodes we've done before, Jay. We have so much content that we haven't really cut up and put out there from past episodes. There's so much content, so
So,
you guys just please, keep an eye out for all that stuff. And of course, our YouTube page, please go ahead and go there, subscribe and like, and make sure you comment on our stuff there, please. It really helps us out. We have a lot of stuff there too, putting the reels there too, stories and all that stuff. So make sure you go there, Dark Fringe Radio on YouTube. So tonight we're going to be getting into the mystery airplane incidents, Jay. So we're going to be talking about all this weird stuff that's been going on lately. Is it conspiracy? Is it not? Is it just, bad luck? I don't know what you want to call it, but we're going to get into it here in a little bit. So
yeah.
please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more Dark Fringe Radio.
Dark Fringe Radio, your trusted source for the paranormal, conspiracy theory, and true crime.
All right, guys, welcome back to Dark Fringe Radio. Tonight we have a really interesting episode, and before we get into all that, I wanted to talk about a couple of segments that we have here, Jay. We haven't done in a while. First off, it's going to be some Dark Fringe news. Are you ready for some Dark Fringe news?
I'm always ready for Dark Fringe news.
All right, let's do it.
For 15 years, I've been trying to teach you how to write a lead. Do I have to do everything myself? Get the story, write the story?
What a dick.
We'll do it live! Fuck it!
I was looking at the James Brown wig.
Fucking thing sucks!
If that's your kind of thing, Maria, you love doing it yourself.
Sometimes, yeah. I can. Take
Confucius say, I do not think the story had much validity.
Well, we're going to be talking about some really crazy stories tonight. But one in particular tonight, Jay, I wanted to talk about, and it's kind of lengthy, so I'm just going to do one tonight. But the headline is this: scientists say they have finally achieved teleportation in a major breakthrough. And this is something that me and you have been talking about forever, since we were a small kids. And I tell you, I always wanted to teleport, and we're getting there, Jay. Listen, it's getting closer. Listen, this quantum computing stuff is really, really crazy. So let me read off the story here to you. A team of scientists from Oxford University may have paved the way for humans to use teleportation as a mode of transport in years to come. There are a few facts in life, of course. We die, grass is green, and teleportation is something, of course, like you say, Jay, is only science fiction. So, apparently that this one last gray area after a team of scientists from the University of Oxford, UK, used a supercomputer to harness the ability to teleport. So what happened is here. It sounds like something, of course, straight out of Star Trek, although it's nothing to do with, the 138 years that it's taken scientists to make this a reality, supposedly. Yeah, there you go, Jay. So how have these, of course, mega minds brought this phenomenon to its existence?
Enlighten me.
Well, they've used light particles of light known as photons, of course, as if you remember things in science class, and they physically teleported them in separate devices. However, it's important to note that in this case, the data is what is being transported between locations. It's using a photonic network interface. They successfully linked two separate quantum processors to form a single, fully connected quantum computer, paving the way to tackling a compunctional challenge previously out of the reach of normal computations. The results have been published in Nature. Supposedly, the quantum computing has been around for decades, but with modern advances in scientists have only just started to manage it and harness its full potential. So supposedly they've always had this of course, intelligence, ability, but just didn't know how to use it in its right way. Up until now,
I wonder if AI is helping with that.
That's exactly what we're getting into, and that's why we're talking about this quantum computing stuff. And
weird.
I don't know if you know a lot about this quantum computing stuff, but I've looked into it, and it's really creepy stuff because what they're doing is they're tapping into a parallel dimension to be able to get these answers. Like they're able to figure out an answer to something that it would take 130 septillion computers that would normally take them thousands of years to kind of figure out, and it would take these supposed quantum computers 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, yeah, it's high level nerd stuff,
right?
For sure.
Yeah, half the shit I'm reading right now, it's I don't know what the fuck I'm saying.
Yeah, I like when I read stuff and I'm like, I didn't understand a single word of anything.
Right.
I like to think I'm pretty okay intelligence wise. I've got an almost 10th grade reading level. But that being said, my issue with the teleportation isn't necessarily that it's science fiction.
Okay.
Here's one thing I can tell you. Back in the 80s and 90s when we were kids, we were scared of robots gaining sentience, taking over the planet.
Super true.
Shocker. Look at that. We're working on that. We were scared of AI taking over the planet. Hey.
Would you like to play a game?
Check. Okay. We've started that apocalypse. Global warming, things of that nature. Right. We've shown that we're trying to get that science fiction knocked out. Right. And now there's the asteroid, right? So everything that is science fiction one day becomes science fact. My issue with the teleportation is to do it, you have to take the original copy, which is you, delete it, explode it, okay? Right. And take all the same copies of similar protons and the DNA and the squishy, and rebuild you somewhere else. It's just a copy. They destroyed the original. No, thank you. I will not be stepping in. I am OJ. I mean OG.
OG. Oh. Jesus. Well, the study titled Distributed Quantum Computing Across the Optical Network Link explained how the experiment demonstrated a distribution of quantum computations between two photonically interconnected trapped ion modules, just basically what you're talking about there, Jay. So to further elaborate on what you're talking about, and they talk about this. This is exactly what they talk about in this article. The modules were separated. Well, because it's a viable question. Because, like what you said, that's what they do. When you teleport, you are deleted completely. How are they going to put you back, right? So, on that thing, what they're saying is by using the heralded remote entanglement between the network qubits, which excuse me, I can't even read this word because it's way beyond my
serious shit.
Deterministically teleport a controlled CZ gate between two circuit qubits in separate modules, achieving a 86 fidelity. So, saying that's basically from my high school level understanding. That's basically saying that okay, we're deleting 100% of you, but only 86% is coming back.
Listen, I'm 5'3" as it is. I don't need 4'11". Okay.
Okay.
We don't need comic actual size Jay here.
Right. Yeah. Right. No, 86% Jay.
First off, you're not going to destroy any percentage. 0.000.
No, I get
you
it.
better bring a lunch and a really big friend. No ghost, please. Okay, you can't double leg a ghost. We've talked about that.
Well, the researchers went on to explain how they searched the quantum mechanical algorithm database to see how well the first teleportation did in terms of fidelity of the qubits, with it coming in at 71%. So not as great as what it was using photons. So even less of a percentage using the other method. So you went from 86 to 71. You're not improving at all. So
you know what's really funny about this, Will? You know what's really funny about this?
What's that?
All of our lives, I've been trying to prove to people that you were actually the crazy one, and I was truly the same one. Nobody has ever believed me. Everybody has always thought I was some kind of raving lunatic. Everybody thought I was crazy.
Right, yeah.
Crazy JJ. I mean, friends, neighbors, Romans, followers, listeners, I give you, it only works at 71%. I'd do it.
I would do it.
You'd do it.
I would. Yeah. Hey. Chalk up the other whatever percentage out. Yeah.
Loco en la cabeza.
Hey, man. Somebody had to go on the moon, supposedly. But yeah. That's another. We've already had that fucking podcast, right? Oh, Lord. So, yeah, what do you think about this, Jay? I mean, of course, okay, they're getting closer to being able to do this, Right?
I mean, are there like anything else, right? Like anything else?
You think it's going to be perfected, like to 100 to the 100%? You know what I'm saying?
In our lifetime, probably not.
I mean, damn! Don't you think this is not close enough? Don't you think that they can get this done between our life now? And
what you're talking about, though, right?
Right.
You're talking about essentially sending material from one location through space, time, and whatnot to a completely another location, and trying to reassemble all those things and do it within a feasible amount of time to where it can be rebuilt. So yes, it's cool that these quantum computers are computing and it's all, and that they're moving the whatnot to QBs.
The qubits.
That's what I said.
Yeah, you did.
That's what I said.
I know.
That's what I said. You can't prove I didn't. So we're moving right along. Okay. The QBs. So, but my point being,
right,
what they're doing right now is they're trying to still really prove it's something viable worth continuing to pump money into. It maybe at one point we'll see them be able to get some small objects one spot to another. But my guess is it's going to have to be something that can be replicated
by a living, breathing thing, right?
Well, like it would have to be something kind of mechanical, something material. I don't think we'll see us Nanu ever in our lives.
No.
I don't think so.
Man, I think so.
I mean, they really the cloning thing, right? Like they cloned that one sheep, and it didn't work out so great.
Oh, all that's been buried, man. All that stuff. They can clone people right now.
Think they can clone full-grown peoples? Well,
Yeah, man. Why not? We got that fucking technology right now. Come on. We've
we
seen that
can't,
already in Terminator. We've
we
seen that stuff
can't
in.
land on the moon. No, Terminators are totally different. No. Whoa. Do I think we can create an android with enough AI and whatnot to fool? Yes. Yes, I do.
Mhm.
Yes.
With some skin that looks human.
I believe that we have enough technology to make something that could fool someone representative enough at the moment, and that is terrifying.
It is terrifying.
But no, I don't think we could Paul Rudd this and happy endings. You ever see that show? Paul Rudd gets it actually, like, the first episode has Tom Brady in it because it was
Really?
kind of like joking at that's his explanation for the longevity was the fact that he was actually like, so it would turn out you would go in this place and what they would do is they would clone you and they would kill the original you, and the new you would wake up thinking it was you, had all the memories and all, like, how the process was, and then it would kind of bury the real you. One Paul Rudd, the original Paul Rudd, didn't die. Somehow he survived, and he ended up going home and bumping into the new Paul Rudd.
Oh boy.
Yeah. It was a pretty good show. I think they only did 2 seasons. Either way, or 1 season maybe on Netflix during the COVID shutdown. So good luck finding that.
Right. Yeah, it's buried somewhere probably.
Buried in there next to what was the Tiger King. So,
oh Lord, forgot about that guy. Yeah.
Right. So I don't think you could clone someone like that. I don't think we had that because we don't have enough understanding of the human body at the moment. We don't have enough understanding of what's in our oceans, and we certainly don't have enough understanding how to get, like, we can't even get to the moon at the moment.
Yeah. I agree.
I don't know about cloning androids.
Ooh, maybe. Possibly. I've seen those women androids and those shows they keep showing, and they're getting closer and closer. They're looking like
they say weird things.
Close, right?
You ask AI a question that's very, like, existential, and it comes back with some strange answers, man. No, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's some Orwellian shit. Yeah, fuck all that. But listen, that's a great wrap up for Dark Fringe News. I thought that was a really interesting article, since we always talk about that shit from time to time. And
hey,
again,
keep us updated, Captain Kirk.
Yeah, I will. Listen, when it happens, I'm the first one on board, man. I'm telling you, I'm gonna teleport over to your house. We can play some pool.
Dope.
Cool, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we'll both be able to stand
I'll do
by
it.
that. Yeah.
I might be glowing.
Yeah, we will be glowing.
Right? Yeah, right?
And then I'm gonna have to kick you out of my house for being. Well, first off, I'm not gonna know who you are because you're
radioactive, right?
You're gonna be shorter than me.
That's true. 86%. That's right.
And in my weight class.
Right. Oh, that's even weirder. It's even weirder. Oh man, that is so weird.
Like, you are not my friend. You get the hell out of you, not William.
Yeah.
Don't let the door hit you, or the good Lord split you, or whatever split you.
Yeah. Vente.
Vente.
Oh Lord. Oh, that's great. That's a good wrap up. Well, Jay, that brings us to our next little segment here, of course, of the podcast. Are you ready for What the Florida Man?
I'm ready for What the Florida Man.
Let's do it.
Florida man.
A Florida man. A Florida man.
A Florida man.
Now to the town of Sefner, Florida, near Tampa, where last night the earth opened up, as it does increasingly, and this time it swallowed a 37-year-old man as he slept in his home.
A man accused of destroying a liquor store in Okaloosa County told police he was in Alice in Wonderland. Matthew Horace Jones also said a caterpillar smoking a hookah told him to do it.
A man calls 911 while Collier County Sheriff's deputies are chasing him, and he says Donald Trump, our president, is his personal friend, a close one at that.
A Lake Worth man is not too happy. He's accused of getting violent when waiters at a restaurant told him they weren't giving away free pizza.
Covering Florida this morning, a Key West man is behind bars. Investigators say he was caught with a large amount of cocaine hidden in this Cookie Monster doll.
That might be a family member right there. I don't know. Well, Jay,
I mean, it's on one of our family trees for sure.
Right? Exactly. It might be. Yeah.
For sure.
Of course.
For sure.
Well, Jay, that brings us to What the Florida Man. And Jay, of course, this is your segment. What do you have for us this week for What the Florida Man?
I have a pretty interesting one, actually. I have A Florida man was recently arrested after leading authorities on a wild chase on January 27th while wearing a Dalmatian onesie, according to police. Dylan Keith Davro, 36, is charged
Stop down.
He's a bad dog.
Bad dog. Hey. Hey. Go, Jay.
This guy needs sound effects. This guy.
Sometimes you got to put him down, Jay.
Like Old Yeller right behind the
Old
ear.
Yeller, there you go. I knew you were going to say Old Yeller, you son of a bitch.
Come on. We're old.
That's right.
I'm getting yellered.
You got to go back there and just do there. Woo! Oh, people don't know about that movie. That tore at your heartstrings, right? That was rough. That's rough.
Rough.
Talk about life lesson right there. No?
Yeah.
That's like the ultimate life lesson.
I mean,
like sometimes you got to put something good down because you don't know it's being bad.
Yeah.
Woo.
Oof. No.
Woo.
Why would what? No. Why would no? Stop it. So let me tell you about Dylan Keith Devereaux.
Yeah, let's talk about this guy.
36-year-old charged with fleeing to elude, escaping, reckless driving, leaving the scene involving property damage, battery on a law enforcement officer, assault on a law enforcement officer, resisting an officer with violence, resisting an officer without violence.
Jeez.
Depriving a law enforcement officer of equipment, drug equipment possession.
So he took the gun.
Possession of a new legend drug.
What is that?
I don't know. Possession of methamphetamine. That's an old-fashioned drug.
Yeah. Yep.
And petite larceny. Petite larceny. Just a little something.
Oh, okay. So something small, like a fucking lollipop.
I got a new kind of a drug, so I'm going to take you with some little something special.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
So,
they put this guy for 100 years or what?
So, check the story out, right? After initiating chase, Davro crashed into a tree, took off running, according to the arrest report. He was shot with a stun gun, fell to the ground.
Nice.
As the troopers were handcuffing him, a fight ensued. Davro was shot with a stun gun again. This is how you know someone's high on that man. As troopers were handcuffing him, he fought again. Ended up escaping, running off towards the woods with one handcuff on, troopers noted. Took the fucker's handcuffs. Additional officers at the scene with a 3-year-old canine was tracked Devereaux back to his home, according to FHP. The suspect's girlfriend told troopers she did not want them near her home since she had drugs inside and did not want to go to jail.
Oh, wow. Talk about fucking incriminating yourself, right? Hey, don't come around here, please. I have drugs around here. I don't want to get caught.
Right there, right?
Jesus Christ. Oh.
Yeah. So they're both currently incarcerated, both waiting bail because.
Okay, you got to go back to the beginning because what was the whole fucking starting? What started this whole thing again? What was it again?
So it was honestly they went to stop him.
And then he took off from there, right? Yeah,
took off.
Yeah. So if they would have just stopped him, he would have went, and then everything would have been fine, right? This just turned into a whole fucking clusterfuck of just shit. After
he did apparently have a new drug on him.
Yeah, whatever.
And then he had some meth,
right?
And he had done a petite larceny, just a little bit of larceny. That's major. A little bit of larceny.
A little bit, yeah,
just a little bit. So and my guess is I'm gonna go ahead and assume he was high on something.
Mm-hmm.
You don't really want to talk to the cops when you're high on something. That's never.
He fought him 3 times. He went 3 rounds with the cops, and they allowed to go 3 rounds with him. 2 stun guns. They shot him twice.
And took their handcuffs.
Was depriving of the officer of his what they called it?
That's depriving the equipment.
The property.
The officer of his equipment. Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know that dude's getting ridiculed.
Oh, they're throwing every charge. Yeah.
You know you know that the cop that lost his handcuffs, everybody is going to get him like some of those little plastic handcuffs.
Oh, yeah.
They're messing with that dude.
Yeah. Yeah, big time. Big time. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But hey, that's typical Florida for you, man. What the F, Florida? But where was this at, Jay? Tampa, of course. Yeah. Where everything happens. Tampa. Where else? All right. Jesus. Well, That's a good wrap up for What the Florida Man, Jay. And that's a good wrap up for our segment portion of the podcast. We're going to take a quick break and then we're going to get into the mysterious airplane incidents that have been plaguing us since the beginning of the new year. We're going to be getting into all that here in a second. So please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with some more Dark Fringe Radio. Hey everybody, just wanted to give a quick pause for the cause and remind you guys, if you can, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Make sure you leave a comment and really help us out in the algorithms there. And especially anywhere else you listen or hear our podcast, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps us out. Now we're going to get back to the show. I hope you guys enjoy. Welcome back to Dark Fringe Radio. Your host, Will Martinez, of course, Jay Glossy. Tonight, really interesting podcast because to me, at least, and in my opinion, at the beginning of 2025, there's been a plethora of just weird airplane incidences that just really have been kind of out of the norm, at least in my opinion. And there are some people that, kind of subscribe to that fact as well, or to that belief. But we're talking about these weird incidences that's been happening and this increase of aviation incidents with a significant loss of life, which is really weird. And so we're going to kind of talk about it in detailed account of all these like different major incidents here, Jay. And I want you to kind of pontificate with me of what you think. I'm not going to be the conspiracy theorist here. I'm just going to say, oh, this is all connected, blah, 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 blah. There's all these signs. I'm not going to say that. No, I'm not going to sit here and say that because I think that's just being sensational. I'm not going to sit here and do that. That's bullshit. So what I am going to do is I'm going to talk to you about what I know, what's been reported, and what's been in the news. And that's all I can do. So we're going to go through it, piece by piece, and kind of dissect it and see what we think about it. And do we think it's suspect or whatever at that point? If not, we're not going to sit here and just say this is all connected because I'm not going to sit here and say that. And neither is Jay. And I'm going to say that. And I'm going to speak for him in saying that because I know that's how he feels as well.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, good. So let's talk about the first thing that's happened here, Jay. That was January 29th, 2025. Of course, it was a mid-air collision over Washington, D.C. This was a really big, of course, news thing that happened because there was a mid-air collision that occurred in the Potomac River over Washington, D.C., involving an American Airlines passenger jet and a U.S. Army Black Hawk helicopter. The accident resulted in a tragic loss of 67 individuals across aboard of both aircraft. Jay, of course, this was a really big thing that happened when it happened. It was all across the news. Everybody was talking about it. It was really weird because it happened at night.
Video.
Thought video. You saw the video was so dramatic, right,
Oh
Jay?
my God.
Yeah, I mean, what in the day and age of now, video, we were able to see so much unfortunate tragedy. Like, the Hindenburg when that went down. Remember, they videotaped that. That was probably one of the most prolific things that happened maybe in American history. The Challenger. That was Well,
we watched it.
We were in class. we watched it
together.
Yeah. We saw it. Yeah, and then they quietly wheeled the TV away.
Nothing to see here.
Nothing to see here. Go back. Start crying. Yeah. Very weird.
Very weird.
So now with the proliferation of cameras everywhere. Thank God we are, able to see all these things. But in another way, it's kind of sad too because when you see it, it's just so tragic. And
it was dramatic. It was big front page news because you don't hear about many things colliding in air often. It's not really, something you hear. So and the fact that it was a passenger jet and and it was military equipment and civilian equipment. It really was like a meeting of two worlds. And back in the day, we wouldn't have had the video there like that for something like that, even if it was called, right?
Right.
So the major happened. It was in the paper. There was maybe some pictures, but usually it was aftermath is what you got.
Right.
Now we get information,
the whole thing.
Video, perspective, somebody's perspective, almost instantaneously.
It's crazy. Yeah. There was a fisherman on a boat that was in the river at that point, and he was videotaping the whole thing. And he put it on X, and it was the craziest perspective ever, Jay, because he was right under it. Yeah. and it was just like, whoa, like holy shit, that guy was just right under all that shit that happened. It's like
I saw a semi
mm-hmm.
uh 2 days ago. Yesterday when I was going to pick up my car, when I was going to pick up my sports car from the shop. I saw a semi going to make a right turn, and this guy in the left turn lane tried to rush it, and sure enough got caught under the tires. Now they weren't going fast enough, so it only really caught the front corner of his. I mean, it caught the whole front end of his car. That front portion of his car was no longer. It was underneath that big rig. And I remember just seeing it happen the whole time. I was like, oh, it's
yeah.
And that's just a semi and a sedan going slow mo. That perspective from underneath, when you're seeing these two things, and you know they're both going hundreds of miles an hour.
Oh, absolutely.
Or at least the jetliner is going hundreds of miles. I mean, that's catastrophic devastation in an instant. I mean,
and even more so that it was at night, because you really got to see like how much it lit up the whole fucking the atmosphere around it. Like it just lit up like a damn fucking rocket launcher. Like it was like 4th of July. It was crazy. It was like I never seen nothing like that. I felt so fucking bad for all those fucking people, man. God bless their souls. I mean, that's just horrible. But I mean. We don't know what happened really. All this is still under investigation. They still think that Black Hawk, got bad information as far as, height of or altimeter where it should have been, as far as how high in the sky, versus where the jetliner was, of course. The sequence of the events leading to the collision, Jay, approximately 8:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, flight 5342 was on a final approach to Reagan International Airport when the traffic control requested runway change from runway 1 to 33, which is kind of weird. There's a lot of people talking about that. They're saying that's conspiracy, the whole Illuminati, the Masonic 33 number, whatever, which the flight crew accepted. Concurrently, the Black Hawk helicopter was navigating a standard route along the Potomac River, commonly referred to as Helicopter Alley. So it was in its trajectory where it needed to be. But around
it's a normal place for it.
Correct. It was not in an abnormal spot where it should have not have been. So very something, important to take note of. Around 8:46 p.m., the air traffic control informed the helicopter crew about the approaching CR 1700 jet at the altitude of 1,200 feet. The helicopter crew acknowledged having the jet in sight and requested visual separation, which was granted. However, less than a minute later, a conflict alert was issued, and the controller instructed the helicopter to pass behind the jet, but this critical directive may have not fully been received, supposedly, by the helicopter crew due to the possible radio communication issues. They said it was kind of like going in and out, so like they were getting like half communication, like it was like that, you were getting like that kind of response,
Yeah.
So again, there is investigations happening right now. They're still saying that there was issues with the altitude, reading, and between that and the helicopter. So, it's really crazy to see something like this, because usually that doesn't happen. You know what I mean? Like you say, Jay, especially when you have the two crossroads of the military and the passenger stuff. That
it only makes it that much weirder.
Right.
It makes, because the thing first off, we don't hear about mid-air collisions. I couldn't tell you about the last mid-air collision I've ever heard of, because you don't hear of them. So either they really don't happen, and this is a first of what is seeming to be now a regular anomaly, which now, if that is the truth, you have to wonder why it's happening with such regularity, which is something we're going to touch on a little bit later in the episode.
Mm-hmm.
But it only makes it, because you expect the military equipment, the military to really, we have this idea of, we all support the military, but because we all support them, we all appreciate them, and we appreciate that they fight for our freedoms. And if you don't appreciate that they fight for our freedoms, then you can get the fuck out of here.
Absolutely.
So, but they are humans too, and they make mistakes, and soldiers die in training events all the time, and we don't hear about it, because usually it's contained within a military
environment.
Field exercise. It's in the military environment. You're on a base. You're in a controlled setup, and it's just one of those things. And unfortunately, because what they do is life and death, sometimes that life and death creeps a little closer to the safety net than we'd like.
Right.
But this isn't that. This is there's a malfunction with equipment. You have a passenger plane full of unsuspecting people who, again, we're told it's safer to fly than to drive. Right? That was always the whole adage.
That was the whole saying, right? Yeah. I don't know about lately though. Yeah. Yeah.
So this is what kind of makes it so weird is where was the miscommunication? Why didn't that helicopter avoid that jet? Because at some point you got to kind of think, hey, that's a jet.
There's a jet there. Yeah, and then they were saying that supposedly they were using night vision, so that had a lot to do with it, and so that was another explanation as to what the issue was, because they were using night vision, so they were seeing things that are different.
It's a different shading.
Yeah, it's a different. Not only that, it's a different depth
perception.
Depth perception, completely different. So, with that alone, I mean, it's just that could really mess you up, obviously. But who knows? Were they really? Who knows? I don't know how they were able to figure that out. That everybody was using night vision, but if they say they were, then they were. You know what I mean?
I think that was the training drill that they were on. That's one of the reasons why the helicopter was in a helicopter alley at night with its lights off. So one of the reasons why I think the plane couldn't see the helicopters because the helicopter didn't have any unnecessary lights on.
Right.
Because they were doing a training exercise. But what that means is that with those night vision goggles on, again, you have a plane, and planes don't fly without lights. So the question is, at some point, did not somebody go, hey, guys.
Hey, there's a big thing coming towards us. I want to go high or low, right?
Yeah. So you got to wonder why the first question is why the two were in the same position at the same time.
Right.
And why was there no communication? You would expect essentially two government agencies, right?
Right.
No, I guess airports aren't government. Airports are private, aren't they?
I want to say airports are government. I want to say they are government.
Maybe international. Either which way. The government is clearly in the airport.
Embedded. Yes.
Right?
Yeah. They're entrenched.
So,
yeah.
You would think that the two would have an easier way of communicating, and accidents happen, things go awry. But this is one of those things that you really would imagine you would take every opportunity to avoid, and it just looks like everybody kind of is looking around going,
"What?
I don't know. Did you?
Yeah.
Who? I don't."
Which that makes it even that much more creepier, like weirder, right? Because it's like, all right, I guess nobody wants to take the blame, of course, at the same time either. But at the same time, you want to give an answer as to what the fuck happened, right? And you're like, oh, we really can't give an answer right now.
I mean, right? Okay. So this is where maybe I put on a little conspiratorial hat.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. Because there was a very short time in my life, very small time, where I overhauled airplane engine parts. Very small time. And I was not very good at it. Okay.
Okay.
I was fired, thank God.
Yeah.
For everybody's sake. So, but I would see the way these things would come in, and they're only allotted to fly so many hours, right? It's not like a car where you drive miles. They count hours of flight and versus trips, right? And they kind of match those two things to tell you what the wear of the piece is and if it needs to be refurbished or not. All the parts we got in, they were thousands and thousands of hours over, and there were hundreds and hundreds of trips over before getting into to get refurbished. And we're talking those engines are so delicate that any one of these little blades gets lost and goes through the engine, it tears the engine up. And that engine is like So yeah,
Delicate. Yeah, it's delicate as fuck. Yeah, you can't get anything in it, right?
No, and those
Right.
parts are crazy expensive, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So I was seeing these things coming in, knowing that these parts are coming off of planes that were carrying passengers well beyond
their capacity,
what should have been their manufactured expectancy.
Right, right.
Which you're asking for a problem. So, but who's in charge of reporting those problems? The FCC, right? Right. They're going to get black boxes, and they're going to do their research, and they're going to investigate. And who are they going to blame here?
Yeah, somebody else.
They're not going
to blame themselves.
It's going to get somewhat forgotten, kind of like a lot of these things do. I mean, how many of these plane crashes do we ever really get the full story on?
Well, Jay, not only that, I mean, you brought up a good fucking point earlier, before we started the podcast about, I said this at the beginning of the episode that, that this is about 2025, but you talked about this. You said, well, this is not just this is before 2025.
That's before 2025.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. So we were talking about this. You had the ships that went into the bridges, right?
Right. Yep.
We've had airplanes that had doors and windows falling out and off.
All the Boeing stuff that happened. Yeah. We put Boeing on the map, and the whistleblowers that came out that ended up dying. 2 of them.
Weird.
Yeah. Both whistleblowers end up getting murked, by the way.
Weird.
Yeah. But if you don't know what we're talking about, it's true. We're not bullshitting.
Yeah, no, that's not.
This is for real stuff.
Yep.
You look it up, and both whistleblowers were killed. At least in my opinion, they want to say the first one killed himself, and he said he was going to kill himself.
They're no longer breathing.
Right. Yeah.
That's what we know, which is just strange. That's all.
Yeah, of course.
So, but my larger point is, right, the SEC is going to. They're I've seen the video and the pictures of them pulling the wreckage and what's left of those 2 aircraft out of the sea, or what is recoverable, right? But even if they get everything out, they're never going to know what really happened. They're never going to know exactly why that helicopter was where that helicopter was. Right. My genuine belief.
Yeah, what do you think would happen here, Jay?
Well, and I think this is kind of the overall arcing thing, because I don't know how conspiracy it is, but here's what I do think it is. And this is where you can start to really poke holes and start to see evil. Sorry, evil.
Evil.
Right?
$100 million.
It's not that much money anymore.
Right.
Still got some of this stuff.
Right. Yeah.
What I'm thinking it is, right, is if you go back and you look at air travel, right, it wasn't safe, but damn, did you do it in luxury? Like, everyone was in suits, and they had their martinis, and you could smoke a cigarette. And,
oh, yeah.
Right?
Shit, you get one of these international flights that cost a lot of money. You can go over there and do a lot of things.
Ooh.
Lay down. They have like beds now.
Well, now, right? So this is what I'm
crazy.
saying. So as we have progressed, they started to focus more on efficiency, on safety, on those kinds of things. And you didn't see, you didn't see many air-to-air collisions, but you also saw planes that were being regularly maintained. There were standards that people had to adhere to and hold by. But when the structure at the top starts getting loose and everybody starts just going, well, maybe if we don't really check it, we could just kind of take some of that money and pocket it.
Right.
So what I genuinely think is, I think processes and procedures for maintenance as an overall from the FCC, I don't think they're getting as much pressure. And I think that they're trying to, I think you're having less skilled employees doing very serious jobs, doing them underpaid, overworked, with only half the number of people. I mean, the people in those control towers, it's a stressful job. It's one of the highest suicide rate jobs there is. by the way.
Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it.
And at current, most of those things are only half as full as they're supposed to be. You have people literally running around. And there has been an uptick actually over the last 10 years of close air-to-air contact. Now, there's not been, again, not that I've seen or heard or reported, there was not any major incidents, but now all of a sudden you have not just one, you have many big ones.
Yeah.
So I think it's what you're starting to see is there was that little crack in the dam, but now the system is so bad, it's so behind, they're so thoroughly screwed. Not enough people. No one's paying attention. You can't get anybody to actually do the shit. And unfortunately,
wild, man.
Air travel is starting to suffer.
That's crazy to even think about. And still, they're not, it's still, the prices are going up, skyrocketing year by year. It's like the cost of travel now is just ridiculous.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you might as well just drive. And that's crazy.
But just buy a dozen eggs. Be done with it.
What do they call it? Tariffs. What do they call those tariffs, right?
They're terrible.
Yeah, that's terrible, right? Well, Jay, another incident, February 6th, 2025, a Bering Air Flight 445 crashed in Alaska on February 6th, 2025. Bering Air Flight 445, scheduled domestic flight from the Undelik Airport in Nome Airport in Alaska, tragically crashed into an icy waters in Norton Sound, resulting in the loss of 10 individuals on board and the aircraft, a single-engine Cessna 208B Grand Caravan, yes, correct, disappeared from the radar approximately 10 minutes before its expected arrival. Those who had been aboard the aircraft, fortunately, all were ambulatory and did not require hospitalization, and there was no fuel leakage reported by the aircraft. The aircraft involved was identified as a 10-cam P20110, and it was a 4-seat single-engine aircraft powered by 170 horsepower engine, blah, 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 blah. Another one occurred on February 10th, Scottsdale Airport collision on February 10th. A tragic aircraft collision occurred at Scottsdale Airport in Arizona, resulting in one fatality and multiple injuries. The incident took place at approximately 2:39 p.m. at local time, with a Learjet at 35A arriving in Austin, Texas, experienced a failure in its left main landing gear. Well, that's pretty fucked up. The landing gear is not working, Jay. This malfunction caused the aircraft to veer off the runway 21 and collide with the parked Gulfstream 200 near a private hangar adjacent to the runway. The Learjet 35A was owned by the Motley Crue singer Vince Neil, who was not on board, thank God, Jay.
When I first read it, that was the first
Kickstart
thing
my heart, baby.
I'm like,
imagine?
I was like, did Vince Neil just Buddy Holly? Did Vince Neil just Buddy Holly?
That's what I thought too. Yeah, no. When I heard it and I was like, when I read the article, I was like, okay, he was not on board.
I got nervous.
I don't have the text, Jay. I don't have the text, Jay.
I got nervous. It's my favorite band.
Yeah, and of course.
Hands
I
down.
get it. But there was the pilot was pronounced dead at the scene, unfortunately. His girlfriend got messed up, pretty much up, and she ended up in the hospital, but with non-life-threatening injuries. But Jay, this is another one. And then now, just recently, on February 12th, there was a military jet crash in San Diego Bay, and that was a Growler aircraft jet that had two guys had to eject themselves out of there. All of a sudden, they were like,
what a terrible name for a jet,
right? The Growler.
It makes me think about you're like constipated and you're just trying to take a
shit. The Growler. Oh, love it.
Sorry. But, anyways, you guys, you're saying.
Yeah, no. The two, of course, miraculously ejected themselves from the air fighter, and a nearby fishing boat picked them up, and then eventually the Coast Guard came by and swooped them up and took them back to base. But yeah, Jay.
So Goose survived this time.
Goose survived this time. He did. And Jay, just as recent as Valentine's Day, Southwest airline flight returns to Houston. From Houston, there was a flight that went out from Houston's Hobby Airport approximately about 5 o'clock in the morning, Central Standard Time, en route to Tampa. And shortly after the takeoff, the crew detected an odor of smoke in the cabin, which is not very
not common. Not
reassuring.
supposed to smell smoke in the cabin.
Yeah, that's not very reassuring when you're on a flight. Yeah, and in accordance with established safety protocols, the flight crew decided to return to Houston, which is a very good call. And the aircraft went back to safety at the Hobby Airport around 5:30 a.m. So it was just basically up in the air for 30 minutes and went right back down. Emergency personnel briefly evaluated the plane before determined that all the passenger crew on the members aboard were safely accommodated in different aircrafts and continued the journey to Tampa. Subsequent flight arrived in Tampa approximately 2 hours later than the originally scheduled. So they said there was no big deal. They fixed it, whatever it was, and no fuss, no muss. So
yeah. So I think right. And this is something I've heard because my sister works in the airline industry.
Yes.
And she tells me about. I mean, the turnover is high. They go through people like nothing. They can't find good people to keep, even if they wanted to keep them or if they could keep them. Right. You have the guidelines that are in place are supposed to be stringent, but the expectations, there's just not enough people because there's been so many cutbacks. So because, I mean, travel's getting expensive. People aren't traveling as much.
That's right.
Flights were already having issues again with windows falling out, doors falling off. Right? These are not the kind of things we heard about in the 80s and 90s.
Remember that lady got sucked out the window?
Yep.
Remember that? Oh my gosh.
I mean, is that not like
that's like Freddy? That's Nightmare on Elm Street shit. Remember, like when the mom got sucked through the window? I'm sorry. My bad. My bad. He was like, right through the window of the door.
Yes, I remember the scene very well.
Yeah, I know you do.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, I remember all those scenes.
That's how I imagined her going out the window in the airplane.
Yes, me too. I kind of, I eliminated the hand part of it though.
Right.
Yeah. But yes, the same kind of what was clearly an inflatable doll.
Right. Yes.
Through a window.
Still a dramatic effect though.
I mean,
you could tell it was an inflatable doll, but it's still fucking great.
It worked. It was
right.
fun.
It worked. Right.
It worked. It was great.
Yeah. You said, okay, that's cool. I get it.
I mean, like the drywall scene was just a bed sheet pulled really tight. It fucking terrifying.
Yes.
Oddly enough, the color of my wall, same color as that sheet was. And really weird. She kept the crucifix exactly where I had a crucifix.
Oh, jeez.
Boy, yeah.
Well, anyways,
those movies were meant to fuck me up. Thank you, William. I didn't want to sleep tonight. I appreciate.
Sorry about that. Yeah. But yeah, Jay.
Rock me to sleep, don't you?
Right. So what say you, Jay, with all these airplane incidents? What do you think? It's just all coincidence, you think? I think, or like what you said, a combination of just bad training and bad this and all this stuff catching up finally.
I don't know if coincidence. Yeah, I think it's a lot of things at the top focusing only on how they monetarily how they can cut as many corners as possible to gain as much profit. That is where I genuinely think this issue, and I think this is honestly, I'm gonna say this, a small issue.
Okay.
These are massive things. People are losing their life. I do not say it very lightly. But what I believe is this is a ripple effect from the dissidents that we're starting to see from the rich class pulling itself away from the not as rich class. So forget the middle class. The middle class is being crushed. Yeah. But what I believe is because you have all these people at the top now who are just kind of siphoning that money. And I don't think this is necessarily a government switchover because I don't think it has anything to do with Trump. I'll say that on the front end. Okay. I believe the president.
We're not political here. You know that.
No. But my point is, when you start talking about, I never really want to say I believe in a shadow government, but I do believe that there are powers in play, not like an Illuminati. I'm not so tin hatty, but I do genuinely believe there are very powerful people who have a lot of money and a lot of influence, and all they care about is having more money and more influence.
Yeah.
And they're all starting to kind of pull themselves together into a little collective.
Mm-hmm.
And you're starting to see how there are things on the periphery that are falling through those because there's no real attention to the detail. It's just kind of let me do what looks cool and make the money.
Right. Mm. Yeah. No, listen, I agree 100%. I don't disagree with you at all. Of course, I probably take a little further than you as far as the conspiratorial side of it.
Usually do.
Yeah, but because that's just me.
It's the crazy one.
Yeah, of course, I'm the crazy. Like we talked about at the beginning of the podcast,
Yeah.
But yeah, it again. I don't know what to make of it, honestly, Jay. I mean, again, it's hard to like really wrap your mind around, especially and not only to how I paraphrase the whole podcast about being at 2025. You're right, though. It goes beyond that.
It goes way back.
Way back. It goes. When Boeing was being fucking the whistleblowers were getting killed and all that stuff. We talked about all this stuff.
We sure did.
We just didn't put it all together now until all the stuff that started happening. But I do agree with you, Jay. I think it is a result of the deterioration of the checks and balances of aviation and safety protocols for of course the benefit of money and profit. And so I do believe that. And whether that be a conspiracy theory or not in itself, you can call it whatever you want, but then again, this is something that's been proven time and time and over again, that these governments, not government, but just there's people in play that have money and have influence that can really make things happen in different ways. So
it's funny because it's kind of like science fiction, right? Like you talk about all these things and it's preposterous, it's crazy,
teleportation,
and then one day, right? Suddenly, here's AI talking about how it's always been here and we didn't create it, we discovered it. Isn't that scary? Right?
Mm-hmm.
So eventually science fiction becomes science fact. I've also noticed that it works in kind of this application too, right? What at one point was conspiratorial and just for the crazy people in the armadillo hats, so that way the government can't hear the chips in the head.
MK Ultra.
But how many times has it been proven that the government's doing some crazy shit and they'll do it to right? Okay, so some of those conspiracy theories turned out to be real. And that's what's scary.
That's the scary part, right? Yeah,
that's
the more scary part.
Yeah, it's fun to poke around and see what could be real and what can't be, and it's fun to pontificate on it, as my eloquently spoken cohort here said. But I think in this one, you don't have to necessarily look too deep to say, oh, it's a shadow government. Just say, oh my God, it's just a bunch of greedy mother not doing what they're supposed to do. Yeah.
Sometimes you poke something and it actually starts moving around. You're like, oh shit.
Oh,
it's alive.
Didn't expect that.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that shit.
When you run away and you out your hands.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's No, that's a great I think bow of this fucking this whole segment. And I think it was a really good topic to talk about because a lot of people are talking about it, and people are really throwing like crazy conspiratorial stuff towards it, Jay. And I'm not going to go there because I'm only going to go by what I know, and I'm not going to go beyond that. You know what I mean? I'm just going to sit here and spew out a bunch of bullshit. It's not true. Again, what I'm going to tell you and what you are going to say are just stuff that we know and that what's been reported. So, again, Jay, it's we're going to keep an eye on it, obviously, because that's all we can do at this point, right? It's just make sure that we keep watch of what's going on, right?
Pray for our family that had to fly.
Yeah, jeez, how do you want to think about that?
My father-in-law flies every week.
Oh, dude, I used to fly almost every other week, dude. Back in like 4 or 5 years ago, I was working for another company, and I was on the road constantly, dude, constantly, and it was just crazy, but I couldn't even imagine doing that now. I'd be so scared.
Plus,
just
now thankfully it's only to New York.
Right. Oh, thank God. Okay, yeah.
But he
still,
flies to the city.
Right. Still, New York.
So
you're talking about, yeah.
It's not like an airplane has ever hit the Empire State.
Whoa.
Now I'm not talking about anything else that happened in New York because we don't talk about we don't talk about that.
Yeah, Tower 7 and all that stuff, right?
We don't talk about that. We don't talk about
all right. Well, that's a good wrap up, Jay. I think that's for tonight. Thanks so much for coming on Dark Fringe Radio and talking about this really interesting period of time that we're in here as far as aviation is concerned. And so I really appreciate it. Again, everybody, you can listen to the podcast, darkfringeradio.com. Make sure you follow all our socials, Facebook, Instagram, and of course, TikTok. Make sure you go there and check us out. And that's it for tonight. Jay, anything else before we say goodnight to everybody?
Be good to each other out there. Be safe and just give everybody a little space. Yeah. Be nice to people.
Yeah, don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick. That should be the motto of Dark Fringe Radio. Don't be a dick.
Don't be a dick.
Yeah, don't be a dick. It's so simple, right? It's not really that complicated, right?
Just be cool.
Yeah, just be cool. Don't be a dick.
Just cool.
Yeah. All right. Well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us on another episode of Dark Fringe Radio. We'll see you again next week with another episode of Dark Fringe Radio.